Jalen Williams is the perfect second option alongside SGA. First, because Shai is one of the best on-ball scorers in the NBA, he commonly pulls the gap defense deep and help, and J-Dub fills in the gaps well as a spot-up shooter. And while he may have gotten off to a slow start from behind the line in the playoffs, he's shooting exactly 50% in the conference finals. And that shot making has been huge for OKC in crunch time. This was probably the biggest bucket in Game 4, where McDaniels is again shifted over to provide extra help, and Shai finds Williams with a simple swing pass. And then along with that floor spacing, I also think Jalen moves off the ball pretty well. He's not the kind of guy that's going to blast off pin downs or flare screens, but he does have a good feel of spacing and where the defense is shifting. Look how Christian Braun is going to slide across the paint to stop the ball, so Jalen relocates the deep corner, making this closeout for Braun much longer. But what also separates J-Dub compared to your typical spot-up shooter is that he also has the skill and build to be a really dynamic slasher off the catch. If the defense closes out off balance or in an upright stance, it's pretty much a guaranteed blow-by. And what I also love is that Jalen for the most part keeps his attacks pretty straightforward. Christian is going to again dig down towards the ball, giving Jalen this clear gap to attack into, and with just one dribble he's up and elevating at the rim. And like you just saw, Jalen in the lane has elite body control. He can elevate in the air and twist past the backline defense, plus he has really good footwork in traffic. We'll see him beat his man with his rip through, and with just one step below the 3, he's got the control to pick up and step past Jokic with his long left-right Euro step. On top of that crafty footwork, J-Dub also has really good strength. Look how instead of using those long Euro steps, he's going to instead pick up and attack McDaniels' body, to then land on 2 feet for this finish. And all those tools for Jalen carry over to his game in transition. Whenever he gets a chance, Jalen is looking to hit the turbo button and put pressure on the defense whenever the opportunity is there. And that blend of speed and length makes him overwhelming for the backpedaling defenders. Williams on the move, fouled. And when playing with the head of steam, this is where Jalen's ball control is on full display. Being able to wrap the ball behind while attacking at full speed, or use these long push crosses to knife through traffic. When Jalen crosses half court here, look how it's literally 3-on-1. But one push cross from the top of the key gets him past the defense and at the rim. So Jalen being able to knock down open threes, attack rotations off the catch, and generate good offense out in the open floor is enough by itself to make him a perfect piece in OKC's offense. But Jalen also has the juice to have the offense run through him with SJ off the court. Probably the biggest improvement J-Dub's made over the past 2 years is his ability to both take and make threes off the dribble. His percentages throughout the playoffs haven't been super high, but teams still have to respect him as a pull-up shooter. And that outside threat typically forces the man guarding the ball to fight over these screens, which then makes it easier for him to turn the corner and get into his mid-range game, which has always been his bread and butter. When creating these in-between pull-ups, Jalen checks pretty much all the boxes. He can rise up going both right and left, he has good pace off the dribble, plus he also has great navigation with the ball. Watch him first burst off the screen, to then briefly slow down to put DiVincenzo on his back. And once he feels him switch off, Jalen's going to hop across the paint and pick up for his jumper. And like we saw with his paint scoring, Jalen loves to initiate contact to create space. We'll see him here rip off the screen, to then push the ball across to his left and get into Gobert's body. Then he's going to bounce back for a nice step back. And this is also Jalen's go-to move when he's playing in isolation. Everything pretty much comes down to him attacking to his left, to then bump and separate for these middies. And the combination of his pace, physicality, and length allows him to generate these looks pretty much at will. Williams But what I really love about J-Dub's scoring is that he always sprinkles in counters to every part of his game. He's going to again initiate contact and look to separate out, but this time he's going to lose Murray with his shot fake and step through. I love this move here, where Aaron Gordon's initially able to close off this drive towards the middle, but look how J-Dub is going to keep his dribble alive, to then hit this tough head fake. Great heads, he got to the rim. So because Jalen can both keep his dribble alive in traffic, and he's established himself as a high-level in-between scorer, this also opens up windows for his playmaking. Whenever Jalen turns the corner off a pick and roll or beats his man off the dribble, The backline defense has to step up to take away his pull-up, but this then leaves him vulnerable to lobs and cuts along the baseline. Look how Gobert is going to slightly shift up as Jalen comes off, leaving the rim open for this lob. And with the ball, Jalen also has a variety of deliveries. Look how Gobert this time has his hands up, so Jalen's going to sneak this inside hand pocket pass. And then along with all these dimes in traffic, Jalen's been a pretty consistent overall decision maker. I wouldn't put him as a top tier passer across the league, but he's for sure got enough to capitalize on his own scoring gravity.
Kicks it out. Holmgren lines it up, nails the three.
So offensively, Jalen pretty much brings everything to the table. He's got the off-ball tools to bring a ton of value with Shea on the court. Plus you can run your offense through him and still stay afloat. He's obviously not the caliber of scorer that SGA is, but he's still a legit 3-level scoring threat, who's also a more than capable passer. Now when switching over and looking at J-Dub's defense, a strong case could be made that this is the best part of his game. First, on the ball, Jalen has no problem switching and guarding 1 through 5. From an NBA standpoint, he may be slightly undersized at 6'5", but that 7'2" wingspan and stable base still allows him to hold the zone against bigger wings and forwards. Throughout the conference finals, he's had no issues covering both Julius Randle and Naz Reid in isolation, where again he has the length and physicality to wall them off and not give up any advantages.
Doing it here in game 1, Naz Reid though lost.
Look how Randle is going to pick up a head of steam off his handoff, but Jalen's able to slide and absorb this contact, pushing Randle into the help side defense. And then along with that stability down low, J-Dub also has the foot speed to switch out and cover explosive scorers like Anthony Edwards, being able to step out, pressure, and contain well outside the 3, as well as navigate through screening actions to keep himself attached. So on the ball, Jalen is the ultimate Swiss Army knife. You can go small with him covering 4s and 5s, and you're not going to give up any real mismatches. Or he can step out and cover elite perimeter scores, where he can both fight through screens and not give up any switches, or you can switch, and he's going to be just fine battling down low. That type of versatility is what unlocks OKC's defense, and no matter what matchup Jalen has, he's always going to be a handful to deal with.
Not been a double-figure lead in this one. Naz Reid spins.
And that's also the case when Jalen is defending off the ball, where that foot speed and length makes him a monster in gap, being able to dig down and make plays on the ball, as well as jump into passing lanes. In help, Jalen has a great feel of reading the defense and timing when to make plays. Right here, he's covering Ant, who's obviously very dangerous to help off of. But look how Jalen doesn't commit to the ball until Randle turns his head. But at the same time, Jalen also has great discipline and help. He doesn't ever get too greedy going for steals, and he knows when to commit to the ball versus staying home. We'll see Ant here backing down SGA, which pulls Chet Holmgren down towards the ball. But when it gets kicked out to McDaniels, look how J-Dub is going to stun up to then recover back to his man. And this ends up being a contested corner 3. We'll see him make a similar read here, where McDaniels again catches on a kickout, and Jalen stunting up forces him to attack back into traffic. So when looking at the impact Jalen has on both sides of the ball, I don't think there's many players across the league who bring this much to the table. Again, he can play both on or off the ball on offense, while being able to play literally any position on defense, while also wreaking havoc off the ball. There's only a handful of players across the league who have this much versatility, and that combined with him being a 20+ scorer, easily makes him the best second option in the league. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments who the kids should break down next. The kids here.